Themes in Bridging for Transformation.
Welcome, community workers. I am so happy to be here. I am always pleased to be in a room full of leaders who are committed to something larger than themselves. Today, I want to talk about themes in Bridging for Transformation. Whether we are trying to bridge differences in families, between friends, between community groups, or organizations across power differences, these themes seem to be relevant. As leaders, we are part of history, connected to our ancestors and social movements historically and today all over the world. We are part of this. Whatever we are each up to contributes to the whole. I believe the themes that I am going to talk about today can help us be most effective, regardless of what parts we play in the larger story for social change. It is my honor to be with you, in that the parts you play, to my mind, are some of the most significant parts. Over the last 40 years, I have learned my own lessons and have spoken to hundreds of people who share their wisdom on bridging for transformation. There's a lot of good work out there on how to do this. Today, I will share some ideas that I believe really matter. I believe these ideas can make a difference if taken on in the commitment of bridging for transformation. I will share these ideas with you. They are part of a model for L.P.I training, Liberation Practice International training. We call this the SEAS framework. So let's begin with calm. From my many years of experience, I have come to appreciate the need for calm in the midst of chaos. Chaos can mean different things to different people. It can mean delays, breakdowns in our plans, mistakes, bad behavior by otherwise good people, and other disappointments, such as working so hard and the project going nowhere. Although chaos can visit us when trying to do community work, we can be equipped to navigate it. Similar to whitewater rafting, it is not impossible to direct your boat, but we need to know the potential waters we are in. We can stay connected in stormy waters and can get even closer with one another if we strengthen our personal connections outside of work. How we do this is up to us. It can mean breaking bread together, having one another over for meals, going to hear speakers, sharing ideas about a book you have read, looking after each other's kids. When this connection does happen, repair can be built through the memory of the calm within the relationship. This type of reconnection can be deeply nourishing, and our community work can be even better as a result. Connection. In whitewater rafting, it is important that you do not use a canoe. Instead, you want to be in connection with others on the proper boat with the proper gear, ready to enjoy the calm and the rough waters, which can also be exciting when skillfully handled. Navigating choppy waters is always best when we remember our purpose and why we chose to go on this journey. The journey can be stressful, but if all of us can hold on to the bigger reason for embarking on this journey, that reason can hold us together when waters are rough. When in touch with purpose and connection, the navigation is possible. It is also good to remember that we will have differences, not only in our backgrounds, but personally and in terms of our views on how we should move for change, how we should move through the waters. It is important to ask what might be influencing the person's way of seeing things. Sometimes it is a particular life experience, sometimes it is pain. We need to try to understand rather than judge, which can lead to disconnection. We need to get past our judgments to really hear the other and perhaps offer support rather than rejection. People are differently wounded and healed when at the impact of oppression. The other thing is to not assume disconnection with others who we think are not aligned with us. What I mean by this is that I have been surprised at where I have found my connections and allies and where I have not. If you told me at the beginning of my career I would be in partnership with a white woman doing liberation training globally, I'm not sure I would have believed you. Sometimes our allies are not who we expect. It's good to think of this when sitting at a table with so-called people in suits. Some of them may be your allies more than you know. You do not know what they're doing behind the scenes. They may be being strategic and not saying much at the meetings. Don't assume you know the player's hand. Similar to in poker, there are activists in all settings moving carefully. Also, treat everyone as a potential ally and see what happens. When invited into a dance of support rather than fear, miracles can happen. This leads me to the idea of choreography. Choreography. We do not have to go along with the usual dance that is set up for us. When we treat everyone as potential allies, people have a greater chance of becoming one. We can invite people into a different step in relating, interrupting the usual dance that is based on inequality. We also do not have to wait for others to define which dances we should dance. We can define our own dance, one that leaves no one less than, one that recognizes each one for who they are in their uniqueness and power. An example of this is deciding to be the buzz in a group setting. We can enter a gathering or situation withdrawn and quiet, and then have a certain experience of the situation that matches our way of being. If we decide to be the outgoing one, we will have a very different experience of the gathering. When we choose to be the buzz, it means we are intentional with our vibes, so that we intentionally create the experience, the dance around us. So take care of your vibes and get them going. This can also keep you more energized to do the work, to keep dancing. Be a co-creator, not just a recipient of the established dances, the established situations. This takes me to the next, contribution. Much is said about contribution, but what I have learned is that contribution is best when it is unique. What I mean is that we often think we need to be more like others to contribute well. We might think we need to appear to have the same knowledge as them, that they know so much more. Yet, people often do not need more of themselves around the table. What is needed is a unique contribution that they cannot give. It is important to ask ourselves what we can give that is unique and needed, and to put our focus there, rather than changing ourselves to be something other than who we are in the moment. You are the contribution. Find out what you already have that is needed and play that up. This will be most appreciated, and you will be therefore operating out of your power, your strength, and confidence. For example, here you bring lived experience and insider knowledge about your community that's priceless and otherwise impossible to gain. The other thing is that people need to be acknowledged and supported in their unique contributions. If we look at community work as an orchestra, each person has a unique talent to contribute to the beautiful music. Find out what it is for each person and support it. In an orchestra, all parts make the whole. No instrument is superior from this view. Whether an upfront or behind-the-scene leader from a big or small organization, no role is less than the other, including the conductor. This brings me to confidence. Confidence is everything. However, we often believe we need to finish an obstacle course to gain confidence. or have all doubt removed from our thinking. We believe that confidence is something that can only be gained. However, confidence is not only acquired, it can also be stepped into. A voice of surety can often be found within us, even if we do not yet live from this voice full time. Practicing speaking from this voice, even if you don't feel it, can have this voice become stronger and more confidence can become available to you. We want to develop and speak from this confidence. We do not have to wait for proof before speaking from this voice. Voice it and you become. Here goes my insecure voice. Tomorrow I'm speaking about at the meeting. I'm not sure if my ideas are going to be good. Here goes my confidence voice. Let me tell you how I feel. I feel powerful and effective. Tomorrow I am speaking at this meeting and I have ideas and they're great. Try it at home in the mirror and see what momentum gets built. Don't let others define you or limit the roles you can play. Expect people will try to limit who you are and the role you play. But like an actor on a stage, you can play many roles. You can be your own director and not accept the roles given to you. You can turn down the invitation to play certain parts until you find the right role for you. You can continue to expect to be the lead actor. You can create your own play. You can also let others create their own play. Courageous creativity. It is commonly said to use creativity in community work. But what does this really mean? Often we are scared to do something that has not been done before. Yet, often this is what is needed most. For this reason, in L.P.I, we talk about a courageous creativity that can lead us to transformation. It is about doing the outrageous, not the ordinary, that can lead to extraordinary change and extraordinary relationships. We need to ask ourselves, what's the worst that can happen if we follow our outrageous idea? People laughing at us, but then it can also work. What's the best that can happen? Social change, great relationships, people's lives becoming better, our passion met, suffering relieved. Finally, clap. Let's all take a second and clap. Imagine everyone is clapping for you. Clap loud and hard. One more time. Let's do it. What happens when you hear clapping? We need to do this all the time. Clap for each other and, most important, for ourselves. This can help us continue on and recognize the everyday successes that we have and the everyday successes of Bridging for Transformation. We get to narrate our experience of success. And the more we narrate it, the more we feel the energy in it and the more we continue our activities towards success. But we can also honor the process of our work, not just the results. Mother Teresa was once asked how she could devote her life to helping people who were eventually going to die anyway. She believed that she was not called to be successful, but just to be faithful. Faithfulness is a form of success. I want to end by sharing some hope and energy of possibility. 20 years ago, while at the Catholic School Board, my colleague and I wrote a letter to the superintendent asking for Community Relations Department to represent the needs of the Black community within the school system. We got this, and it exists today. We also got much more of what we had advocated for over the years. However, it was not always right away that we saw the fruits of our labor. It took 20 years for me to realize that the seeds I was planting, they were really growing. But that the time of harvest was not for my generation all the time, but for the next. For years, the results of some of our efforts were not that visible. We thought we were failing. Today, when I see curriculum change, Black history events, and ministry committees responding to what we were concerned about, I just have to say I am glad I continued on. I am like you, just doing my piece in the world. I am also turning 65 and in the sunset of my life. And I am happy to see that there are people like you who have the same passion, interest, and energy, and that I can pass on the baton. The question I have for you is, will you keep it going?